Here is a question you have probably never once asked while you were packing. What are you actually carrying all of it in? Picture the suitcase open on the bed the night before a trip. Next to the clothes, there is a second, smaller pile, and that pile is the things you bought to hold the clothes. A set of packing cubes, 3 or 4 of them, all zippered. A packable day pack folded down into its own little pouch. A dirty laundry sack for the trip home. And a toiletry pouch, the DOP kit, for the brushes and the bottles. 4 separate products, off 4 separate shelves. You bought each one for a trip, and every couple of years you buy some version of them again. None of it costs much on any single day. A cube set here, a packable bag there, a new pouch when the old zipper splits. That is exactly how it adds up, quietly, one reasonable purchase at a time, until there is a drawer at home full of empty bags that each do exactly one thing. Every one of those 4 jobs can be done by a single square of cotton, a furoshiki, a plain hemmed wrapping cloth, nothing printed on it that makes it special, about the price of a paperback, roughly $10 to $20, or nothing at all if you already own a large scarf. 1 cloth, 4 purchases, canceled. There is a catch though, and it is the reason so many people who try this give up in the first 10 minutes. Whether that cloth carries your gear across a train platform or dumps it on the floor, comes down to exactly one thing: a knot. Tie it one way and it holds. Tie it the way almost everyone reaches for on the very first try, and it quietly gives out. So if you have ever rolled a few shirts into a cloth, lifted it, and watched the whole bundle sag open across the bed, stay with me. Maybe you saw a Furoshiki video once, tried it with a stack of laundry, and the knot slid loose the second you picked it up. So you decided the cloth was a nice idea that does not survive contact with an actual suitcase, and you went back to the cubes. You did not fail. The cloth did not fail. You tied the wrong knot, not the cloth. And there is one more thing worth planting before we start. That fold-flat bag hiding underneath all of this, the one that packs into your pocket and opens into a tote, is not a modern travel invention. It has a proper name and a date older than the wheeled suitcase. Where it actually came from turns this whole story on its head. I will get to it at the end, because it is the best part. Here is what nobody mentions while they are selling you the cubes, the pouches, and the packable bag. The cloth was never the thing that failed. It has quietly done all 4 of these jobs for centuries. The only piece missing was the one small skill that makes it hold, the knot that never crossed the ocean with it. Fix that, and a single square of cotton empties half your packing list. So let's start with the first thing it replaces, and the exact way people get it wrong. Start with the packing cubes, because that pile is the easiest one to empty. You do not need 3 or 4 zippered cubes to keep your clothes sorted in a suitcase. You need 3 or 4 cotton squares and about 4 folds each. Here is the method, and it is as plain as it sounds. Lay 1 furoshiki flat on the bed. Stack a single category on top of it. All your shirts on 1 cloth, undergarments on the next, socks and cables and the small stuff on a third. Fold the near side of the cloth over the pile, fold the far side back over that, bring the 2 ends up, and tie them shut. What you get is a soft, flat bundle a little smaller than the pile you started with, because pulling the cloth tight around folded clothes presses the air out the way a cube does. Press your palm down on a finished bundle, and it firms into a flat slab you can stack in the case. Travelers who pack this way say the knotted bundle compresses better than packing cubes. That is their experience talking, not a lab measurement, but the reason is easy to see. A cube is a fixed box, so you fill it and whatever room you do not use rides along empty. A cloth cinches down to the exact size of what is inside it. There is a second thing the zippered cube never gives you. The bundle is open on top by nature, so you can see what is in each one at a glance. Open the case and there they are, 3 cloth bundles, each a different category, each one visible. No opaque zipped box, you have to unzip just to remember what you put in it. Shirts here, undergarments there, the small stuff in the third. And when a bundle is empty on the trip home, it goes flat as a folded napkin, not a stiff empty box eating a third of your carry-on for nothing. This carry and sort job is not new, and no travel brand thought it up. It has an old name. The everyday wrap for hauling a day's goods was called the Otsukai Tsutsumi, the errand wrap. Otsukai means running errands, and Tsutsumi means to wrap. For a few hundred years, that was simply how a person carried a lunchbox, a change of clothes, a day's shopping. You set the goods on a cloth, and you knotted it. The bundle riding in your carry-on is that same errand wrap, scaled up from a lunch to a week away from home. So one cloth per category, knotted flat, and half of that packing organizer shelf is already done. Except this is exactly where most people who try it give up. Here is the moment it goes wrong. You stack the shirts on the cloth, you gather the four corners, you tie a fast knot, you lift, and the whole bundle sags open across the bed. Shirts everywhere. You try it once more, a little tighter this time, and the knot slides loose again. So you decide the Furoshiki is a charming idea that does not survive an actual suitcase, and you go back to the cubes, not the cloth. Because that spill on the bed is not the cloth giving out, and it is not you being clumsy with your hands. It is one specific wrong knot, the knot almost everyone reaches for without thinking, and it slips under the weight of a loaded bundle every single time. That was only round one. Every job past this one, the daypack, the laundry sack, all of it, rests on the knot you tie. So that is next, and it is the one thing in this whole video worth slowing down for. Slow down here because this next part is the whole video. Everything else is just folding cloth. This is the one thing that decides whether it works at all. Go back to that bundle sagging open on the bed. The cloth did not fail you. You tied a granny knot. Almost everyone does on the first try without ever hearing the name. A granny knot is what your hands make by reflex. You cross the two corners, tuck one end under, and then on the second pass you tuck it the same way again. Same direction both times. It looks finished, it looks like a real knot. But under the steady pull of a loaded bundle, it does exactly one thing. It rolls over on itself, the loops slide, and it quietly lets go. Sailors and riggers have a blunt word for that failure. They say the knot capsizes. Yours capsizes on a hotel bed at 11 at night, the shirts spill across the blanket, and you blame the cloth. Here is the fix, and it is one change, not 10. The knot that holds is the ma-musubi, the true square knot. Japanese households tied around their goods for centuries. You tie it by alternating the direction, left corner over right and tuck, then right corner over left and tuck. Two passes opposite ways, that is the entire secret. When you alternate like that, the knot lies down flat and pulls parallel to the cloth, so the harder the bundle strains against it, the tighter it seats. Repeat the same direction instead, and it stands up in a little lump and rolls loose. Left over right, then right over left. That one reversal is the whole difference between a bag and a spill on the platform floor. Pull the two ends hard sideways once you have tied it. A ma-musubi cinches down and keeps its shape. A granny slides and gaps open. That short tug on the bed is the difference between a knot you trust across a train station and one you find undone at your feet. And there is a stranger reason Japanese households were always exact about which way the knot lies. Tie that same square knot standing upright instead of flat, the ends pointing up and down, and you have a different knot with a different name, the tate-musubi. That vertical version is not just weaker. In Japan, it is the funeral knot, the way a kimono is tied on the dead, and for that reason it is kept out of everyday use. So the everyday carry knot, the one that hauled a lunch and a change of clothes for a few hundred years, is always the horizontal ma-musubi. The two were kept separate on purpose, one knot for the living and one for the dead. You would think that somewhere along the way, someone would have said something. A tag sewn on the scarf, one line in the packaging. Nobody did. The cloth crossed the ocean as a pretty wrapping square for gifts, and the single skill that made it carry a load stayed behind. Not the cloth, the knot. If canceling 4 travel purchases with 1 square of cotton is your kind of arithmetic, subscribe and stick with me, because the next method on this channel quietly cancels another bill you forgot you were even paying. Now, back to the suitcase, because you have just fixed the one thing everything else depends on. A knot that actually holds does not only rescue the packing bundle, it turns the very same square into the next 2 purchases on the list. The 2 that have to carry real weight across a real trip. And those are the 2 that most people will swear a plain cloth cannot do. Start with the daypack, because it is the one people call impossible. A single square of cotton, the same one you just knotted around your shirts, becomes a 2-handle carry bag with exactly 2 knots. Here is the whole move. Lay the cloth flat on the hotel bed, a diamond of cloth in front of you. Take 2 opposite corners and tie them together in a ma-musubi, left over right, then right over left. The knot you already fixed. That is one handle. Now rotate the cloth halfway around, 180 degrees, and tie the remaining two corners the same way. That is the second handle. The two knots pull against the weight of whatever hangs in the pouch between them, and the flat cloth opens into a bag with a mouth and two straps you can sling over your shoulder. It has a name, the ma-musubi, the four-corner tie, and Japanese households have folded a market run into a scarf this way for a very long time. What makes it a travel bag and not a party trick is where it lives the rest of the time. It lives flat. Folded down, the whole day pack is a square of cotton the size of a paperback, tucked into a jacket pocket or slid down the side of the suitcase, weighing nothing, taking no room. Then you land, you empty it, and in under a minute the cloth is the bag for a market stall, a beach afternoon, the water bottle, and the jacket you shed by noon. Keep the load honest though. This is a day's soft carry, a jacket, a water bottle, the few things you pick up walking around a new city. It is not a hauling sack for bricks, and the knot doing the quiet work is the reason it holds it all. A granny knot here would sag open at the worst moment on the sidewalk. The flat ma-musubi does not. Now the third purchase, and this one cancels itself, the dirty laundry sack. Think about what that cloth is doing on the flight home. Nothing. It carried your clean folded clothes out, and now those clothes are on your back or wadded in a pile, and the wrapper is empty in the bottom of the case, so you knot it shut around the dirty ones. The same square that kept your shirt separated on the way out becomes the sack that keeps the worn socks off the clean shirts on the way back. You did not pack a mesh laundry bag. You did not buy a mesh laundry bag. The laundry bag is the wrapper you were already carrying, at zero extra weight and zero extra space in the suitcase. Stop and count what just happened, because it is the quiet thing this whole video is about. The packable day pack and the dirty laundry sack sit on the store shelf as two separate products, two different pieces of travel gear in two different aisles, each with its own zipper and its own little price tag. They are the same square of cotton, doing two jobs at two ends of one trip. One cloth went out full of clean clothes, turned into a shoulder bag for the day, and came home knotted around the dirty ones. That is one square doing more quietly, while the shelf sold you the pieces one at a time. That is three purchases gone. The packing cubes, the fold flat day pack, the laundry sack, all folded back into one plain square you can buy for the price of a paperback. There is one purchase left on the list, the toiletry pouch, and it is the only one that comes with an honest catch. A cloth will wrap almost anything flat and carry it down the side of a case. But there is one thing it genuinely cannot do, and it is worth knowing before you trust the cloth with your kit. That catch is next, and waiting right behind it is the oldest surprise in the whole bag. The fourth purchase is the toiletry pouch, the DOP kit, and the cloth handles it the same way it handled everything else. Lay your dry kit in a line across the cotton, the toothbrush, the razor, a bar of solid soap, a sealed bottle or two, fold the sides over, roll it into a flat log, knot the ends. It slides down the gap along the side of the case where a rigid pouch never fits, and it folds back to nothing when the trip is over. Here is the honest catch, and it is a real one. A furoshiki is a cloth, not a case. There is no padding in it, no rigid shell, no waterproof seam anywhere. It will corral and flatten soft, dry things beautifully, and it will do nothing at all to save a camera lens, a pair of glasses, or a fragile souvenir from a hard knock in the overhead bin. And it will not hold water. Pack a bottle that leaks, a tube with a loose cap, a jar of anything wet, and the cloth soaks it straight through into your clean shirts. This is a wrap for a dry or sealed kit. It is not a wet bag. If you remember one limit from this whole video, remember that one, because ignoring it is the fast way to a soaked suitcase and a good reason to blame the method for a mess that was never its fault. So stand at the store shelf and count what happened. Packing cubes, a packable day pack, a laundry sack, a toiletry pouch, 4 products, 4 zippers, 4 little price tags, 4 different aisles. Every one of them is a single shape. A plain square of cotton already makes. Nobody banned the cloth. Nobody hid it. It was quietly taken apart and sold back to you one piece at a time, and the one skill that made it whole, the knot, simply never crossed the ocean with it. And here is the oldest thing in the bag, the surprise sitting at the very bottom. That fold-flat day pack you were sold as a clever modern travel invention has a dated ancestor with a name, the azuma-bukuro. In Edo-period Japan, somewhere between 1603 and 1867, ordinary people made a bag by sewing one straight seam across a single piece of cloth, so it folded dead flat in a sleeve and opened into a gusseted carry-all when they needed to haul something home. Azuma means east, Edo, old Tokyo, seen from Kyoto, so the name simply means bag of the east. And here's the twist that closes the whole thing. That original eco bag was itself the commoner's imitation of a Western bag, brought over from across the sea and copied by the ordinary people of Edo with the cloth they already had. The packable tote hanging in the travel store today is a hand-me-down of a hand-me-down, sold back to you as new. So the cloth is $10 to $20, or free from your own closet. The knot is 2 passes in opposite directions. Fold it back into the drawer beside the suitcase, ready for the next trip, and teach it to one person before they buy the 4 bags you almost did. It was never the cloth.